Our most asked questions about pricing. Hello, my name is Liz Stamford and I'm one half of Baba Business, the Birth and Baby Business Academy.
And my name is Anna Lagrange, the other half of Baba Business. So, pricing. It's quite funny. We just looked at these questions and we thought, oh gosh, now we know why we don't talk about money much on the podcast, because our money mindset is something that we are constantly working on.
Yeah.
So you're not alone with asking yourselves questions about pricing, because I just think it's something that, especially as women in business, we all struggle with a lot, and it's why money mindset work is so important. But anyway, we're talking about pricing. But money mindset, we should say that though, that money mindset is a part of being a business owner, especially I think a female business owner, especially a female business owner in the space that we're in, which is all around helping people. Like, a lot of us have come from and I'm from an NHS background and a volunteer background. A lot of people who come and train with me are from a volunteer background, and they find this pricing thing really, really challenging, but it holds them back so much. So we do quite a lot of work on really going back to their why a lot. I think you said on last week's podcast episode, if you're not making sales, then you don't have a business. And that fits with this as well. If you're not making a profit, if you can't pay yourself after giving all your services, you don't have a business. You have a nice way of spending your time, an important way. You're making impact. That's great. But we're here to help you build a business, something that brings money in for you and your family. Like, that's really, really important to Liz and I. And so it's important that you price your services correctly and from a place of building a business that's going to be sustainable and it's going to last and it's going to keep making an impact, rather than sort of trying to price your services so that it keeps everyone happy. Because I'm going to tell you now, you're never going to make everyone happy, ever.
Definitely.
Whatever the price.
What you touched on there about profit, I think, is really important. You have got to know if you are making a profit and what your margins are, and how much everything is costing you, like what's going in. I'm laughing because we still make these mistakes all the time. Go, what are we doing that for? So you keep going through it, you've got to keep reviewing it, and you've got to stay on top of it. But these are lessons you learn as you develop and as you grow, and the bigger you get, the bigger the lesson is, so start learning early on, and you'll get into good habits. So understand how much, how much each, like, what's the best way to explain it, but like how much each client costs you, essentially. You charge them a rate, but then, like, what do they cost in terms of, like, the venue hire, whatever goodie bags you give them, the amount of you're giving them, resources, all of those, that sort of stuff, your insurance, your professional bodies, all of those what are you going to be, your tax, what are you going to be left over with, and start to break that down and understand it and follow the number time.
So the question that we've got, one of the questions we've got on this is, I feel guilty charging more for my services. How do I price myself in a way that reflects my value and still feels good? So it's that balance, isn't it? So it's about profit, which we've just said, but it's also about, I think when people start out, I know I talk a lot about starting out, but I think pricing for some people, they can go with the price, they feel very sure of it, and that's good for them, and it helps them to price it, so that they make sure they've got a good profit. I think for some people, they need to start their price. They feel like they need to start their pricing a bit lower, and I don't personally have a problem with that, starting off a little bit lower, so long as all of your expenses are met and you're still going to make something at the end of it. So what you do need to do really is you need to get really practical. Actually, there's two elements to pricing. There's the practical element, and then there's the mindset kind of element. So the energetics, if you like, behind it. So from a practical point of view, all the stuff that Liz was just saying about making sure that you've got your, that you know what your expenses are going to be, like what's your minimum number of people. So let's say you had, I don't know, I'm just going to think of an example of a baby massage class. So let's say you had 4 people come along with their babies for your first ever time running that particular service, would that cover your costs and give you a little bit extra afterwards? And it's hard, isn't it, with something like baby massage, because you've got quite a lot of kit to buy originally, so you've got almost like a startup cost, and then you've got so obviously every service is going to be different. If you're doing, say, pregnancy or baby yoga, you'll have yoga mats and maybe some cushions and things. So obviously it's going to be individual to everyone, but you've really got to crunch the numbers. You can't just go out and just spend, and then anything on top of that is extra. Those are business expense. So you do have to be, and all businesses have got early expenses, part your training included, that you start off with. I think then once you've done that, then obviously you can set some numbers and make sure that your venue fits those numbers in. There's no point having a venue that's only going to fit 3 mums in, because you're never going to be able to grow that, and you're probably never going to be able to make profit. You've got to think about your numbers and be clear on what that service is going to look like eventually, and then you're going to have a plan to build up to it. I think when it comes to the energetic side of it is that try not to overthink your pricing in some ways. Once you've obviously done that check, what the minimum is, really try and feel into what's the right price for this service. You might want to look around a little bit and see what others are charging. But I would also just really spend some time tuning into your instincts, feeling like, what is the right price for this? But then also have a really flexible mindset about changing that and adapting that as that service grows.
Yeah, I agree. And I think with this particular person, what they're saying is, I feel guilty charging more for my services. So I'm thinking that maybe they've been teaching, having clients, delivering classes, or whatever it is that their service involves for quite a while. But now they've got to that point where they need to increase the price. And so I would imagine that the reason that they're doing this is because, well, I mean, it's probably, cost of living. Everything has gone up, hasn't it? So their venue prices have probably increased, insurance has increased. Maybe they're like, the bodies that they pay to register with have increased their prices. All of that sort of thing is coming out of their profit, and they're feeling like very, very squeezed. So they're doing exactly the same thing. Their clients are getting the same service, but they're getting less. And I think you have to really tune into valuing yourself, valuing your time, valuing your expertise, and really charging what you're worth. So and it's not to be like everybody is experiencing the increased prices like across the board, but probably what you're looking at is increasing it by such an amount that it's not like a huge impact to your potential client, but it would have like a positive impact on you. So you're trying to find the balance there. So crunch your numbers to see like how much is it you want to be making after you've covered everything, and then work out how much that is per person that you need to increase your prices by. And I think these sort of days, people aren't surprised by prices going up because they understand that there is a need for those prices to go up in today's economy and society. And then they obviously get to make the decision as to whether they prioritize it or not. And of course, if you don't put your prices up and you keep doing it the way that it is, and people keep coming to your classes, but then are you just breaking even, or are you or are you making a lot? There's no point in doing it anyway. You might as well be putting them on for free at that rate. So really tune into, again, like the transformation that they get from working with you, the fact that you need to value your time, your energy, your expertise. And don't be afraid to do it. It's a business decision, and we've got to do it.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, and if you're that person who's not making a profit in your business right now and you haven't been for a while, you've got to make this a priority for your business. And sometimes it means a little bit of renaming, rejigging, thinking differently about your service as well, tuning into what parts you enjoy, what parts you don't, how can you make this work better. Sometimes it's not always just about just the price, it might be about relooking at everything. So don't be afraid to be open to change, but it sounds like that person really knows that they need to make a change. So yeah, that's just part of running a business, isn't it? It's like that's kind of like what we talk about, serious business ownership, like that sort of, this is a business.
Yeah.
So you have to unfortunately, sometimes I make those tough decisions.
Yeah. So we've got another question. Let me just have a look. So how, this is juicy. How do I explain my pricing to potential clients who say they can't afford it? That's really interesting.
Yeah. So for me, this is a reframe,
Yeah.
because the money, look, sometimes, well, often we feel like we can't afford something, or we know we can't afford something, but essentially what we're saying when we can't afford something is, right now, this is not a priority for that sum of money. So whether it's something that costs £50,000 or something that costs £10,
Yeah.
you will have people saying this at every single level. Some people, you'll put something out for £10 and someone will be like, that's too expensive for me. What they're actually saying is, I do not want to exchange £10 that I have. I'd rather spend my £10 on something else.
Yeah.
You know? And so it's about that. It's about them not feeling that that service is for them, or that it's a good fit, or they don't perhaps believe in the transformation that service is going to go for, or quite literally it could be they have to prioritize giving their family food that week rather than going to a class. There's so many different reasons, but I really want you to change your sort of mindset around what that question actually
Yeah.
means and what it's saying.
Also, I think, we don't have to explain ourselves to people. Our prices are our prices. You don't have to justify why you've put a certain figure on something. And I say this often, like, all prices are made up, aren't they? There's nobody up in the sky going, this is not a religious thing, by the way, but there's nobody up there going, oh yes, you must charge £10 for this and £12 for that, or 250 for this. It's literally, you're making it up to see what feels good in terms of covering all your expenses and valuing your time, your energy, your expertise, and your experience. You can obviously look at what other people are charging in the local area, so that you sort of fall into either the same bandwidth, or like, if your service is a much more elevated experience than what's being offered, then then your service is obviously going to cost more. Maybe it's more bespoke, maybe it's more one-to-one. So we shouldn't be explaining ourselves to people. We
No.
price, they either go for it or they don't go for it. But if what this person is talking about is maybe when objections, so when somebody
Yeah.
sort of says to you, oh, I can't afford it, that's not your cue to justify your pricing or explain your pricing. That's your
Or
cue.
lower your pricing.
Or yeah, absolutely. You to, like, maybe understand a little bit more about what it is that's stopping them, and
Yeah.
not to, like, strong arm them, or make them feel like bad for not doing it. It's just, is it that they need more information? Is it that they need to speak to somebody else? Is it that they need a bit of time? Yeah, is it that they haven't quite understood what the transformation is and how important your service is going to be to them? So yeah, I would say that is a bit of a reframe, and it's interesting though. That one did make me go,
Yeah, and it opens the door for more conversation. Don't always just see that as a closed door necessarily.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, we've got another one. What if no one books when I raise my prices? Should I lower them again or stick it out?
Oh God. Well, I would definitely say don't lower them. You've
No.
raised them for a reason, so hopefully you haven't just gone, oh, I'm gonna stop charging £100 for this, and I'm gonna start charging £1,000.
Yeah.
Although I say all prices are made up, hopefully you've gone about it a strategic way and looked at it in a way that not that you could justify it, because it sounds like I'm going back on what I've said, but that there's reasoning to your pricing, and then you can feel better about it. You can feel good about the figure that you've put on your service.
Yeah, I think this is the key here, because I think we work with lots of people who raise their prices, and actually a lot of the time sales don't go down. Sometimes sales will go up. I
Yeah.
find what happens when this situation occurs is often what someone's done is they've raised their prices and they've then hidden because
Mm,
they feel so uncomfortable about the price raise
yeah.
that they suddenly, without even meaning to, they're not talking about it so much, they're not sharing it so much, they're not doing all the sales and things, activities that they would normally do because they feel so uncomfortable about the new pricing. So they've sort of put this price out and then hidden away, and that's, it's really important that you don't do this. You've got to put the pricing out and then you've got to own it, you've got to get really excited about it, and and that's, and I think probably if you dig down into what you're feeling about that, there's going to be you're telling yourself a lot of stories
Yeah.
about probably that people can't afford it, that it's not worth that much, probably a bit of imposter syndrome's coming in. You're probably, perhaps there's someone else who charges less than you in your local area, but you feel like they have more experience, they've got a different qualification that in your mind should be charging more, and suddenly you feel like, oh, why would people pay me more than they pay them to go and see them? But this is something I wanted to say this on the last point too as well, Liz, is there is people underpricing themselves everywhere. So when you look around your local area at what other people are pricing themselves, don't forget that some of those people will not be making any profit. Sometimes I look at a service, or one of my clients will come to me and they'll be like, oh, well, so and so, this person down the road is doing the same thing as me and they're charging this. And I will say, I have no idea how they can run that service for that price.
Yeah.
To me, if they have a way, then good for them, but that's to me not a realistic price. So you've got to be really real about the business aspect of pricing as well, and not just think, oh, well, if so and so who's been doing this for 20 years is charging less, than I couldn't possibly go up. That is just an absolute rubbish story. It's nonsense.
Yeah.
They probably have never really worked on their money mindset and thinking about their pricing, and they probably have got more of a hobby than a business, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Or maybe they get their venue for free or something,
It
that
could, yeah, you don't
makes,
know.
yeah, it makes a huge difference. We assume a lot of stuff about other
Mm.
situations, competitors, if you like, and also potential clients. And we shouldn't assume anything. We should, give everybody the opportunity to make their own decision. But yeah, I wouldn't be lowering them again. If you've got no takers when you put your prices up, I will say that, like Anna was saying, it is probably a mindset thing and you're not talking about it enough. But also, just look at it again, like look at your offer again. Is there anything that you can kind of add in there that's going to make that offer like just feel like a no-brainer, that isn't going to cost you a fortune? So sometimes these can be like additional resources that maybe you've created on Canva, or like an extra, I don't know, 30 minutes of your time or something that's not going to really push eat into the profit, etc. So to have a think about what is it that I can offer that nobody else is offering, that's going to make me feel really good about this price increase, because that's going to be the biggest thing, is you not
Yeah,
feeling for sure.
100%. Brilliant. Love that. Oh, it's good. We should talk about money more often.
Oh,
So if you've enjoyed our episode, please go and give us some feedback, whether you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Go and give us a review, give us some stars. If you're on YouTube, obviously give us a subscribe and a follow, and we will see you for more questions next week.
bye.
Bye.